It is absolutely impossible to believe that we are already at the end of the year and I am making this video. I cannot fathom it, honestly, but here we are and it's the very end of December and I thought it would be fun to do a final update on my 2024 TBR/reading goals and see just how far I actually ended up getting with some of them. So I still have all of the notes from that original video on my tablet here, so I'm just gonna pull it up and then kind of see what I accomplished, maybe what I didn't accomplish. Also, let me know in the comments what your reading goals were for 2024 and if you met them, if there was something you wish you could have accomplished and didn't quite get there, and if you read your TBR, if you even had a TBR. Did you complete it? Did you have some that you didn't quite get to? So my reading goal count for the number of books that I really wanted to get to was 52 books because I was aiming for one book a week, and I definitely surpassed that. Right now, as I'm filming this, it is December 24th, and I am currently at 96 books. Now, I am hoping that in the next week I can get that up to 100 because I have never read 100 books in a year, and I think that would be amazing to be able to say that, but I don't know. I'm gonna try, but that's 4 more books. We'll see. We'll see if I get there. That's like my mini goal now. If I don't get to it, I'm not gonna be too upset because I already beat my 52, but I just thought it would be really fun to see if I could actually get to that because I've never been this close before. The most I'd ever read in years past was 77. Then I'll just quickly tell you what my TBR was and if I ended up actually reading it or if I didn't, and maybe just how I felt about it too, because I don't feel like going through the ratings for these right now. I'm going to be doing that on my 2024 reading wrap up where I go through every single book that I read and just tell you my rating for it. But for this, I'll more give you just kind of like the vibe I got from it, I guess. Number 1 on my TBR was the Heartstopper series. Finished that. Loved it. The Lore Olympus series. Now, technically, I read all of the ones that I had owned when I wrote this TBR. I have one new one now that I haven't got to, but I'm not going to count that towards this because I didn't own that. It wasn't even out yet when I made this TBR, but I really liked those. They were a lot of fun as well. Pride and Prejudice reread, obviously loved that one. Shadowhunters series continuation. So for that one, I had a crap ton of them to get to, and I finished all but 2. So I have Shadowhunters and Downworlders left that I haven't read, and then also the Shadowhunters Codex. So those I think I'm going to carry on into my 2025 TBR because I can't see myself getting to them in the next week. But as far as the actual novels go, not just novellas or extra books, I did finish them. So that was a huge chunk of my TBR that I basically got through. Then I had Misery by Stephen King. I cannot believe that I read that one this year because that feels like forever ago that I read that. I think it was like January or February, but loved that book. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Monstrous Book 2. This one I read, I hated, and I gave away all earlier this year. I can't even tell you what month it was because I don't remember. I really wanted to like Monstrous. Not for me. The Girl from the Other Side manga. Oh, yes, I read those. I have the deluxe editions. I'm not gonna disturb my shelf to grab them right now, but such a good manga series if you're into gothic horror. Not so much horror. Gothic kind of style manga. Cutesy in a way. I don't know how to describe it, and I'm definitely not doing it justice, but if you're into stuff that sounds kind of like that might be your vibe, I highly recommend that. Poetry by Sappho. Read it. Loved it. Would totally read it again. Circe by Madeline Miller. Wow, I cannot believe that I read that one this year too because that also feels like eons ago. Loved it. So good. Into the Wild by John Krakauer. I listened to that audiobook. I borrowed it from my library, I think in January. Like that was a while ago too. That one was a reread, and obviously I liked it because I reread it. And a reread of The Lord of the Rings. I actually ended up listening to the audiobook narrated by Andy Serkis. So good. Such a good time. Okay, and then we'll get into a few of my goals. So use the library more instead of buying books I'll only read once. I definitely used the library more for audiobooks. I did end up like borrowing a few ebooks from my library. I definitely still have a problem with buying books that I'll only read once. I swear I black out when I do some online book shopping and then stuff shows up at my door that I do not remember buying. It's a problem, and I definitely think that's a goal that I need to continue for next year because I don't think I met that one, but what can you do, honestly? Listen to more audiobooks. Absolutely did that for sure. I really love nonfiction audiobooks. If you ever have a problem kind of getting into nonfiction sometimes, audiobooks, definitely the way to go. And it's even better if it's an autobiography and it's narrated by the author. There's just something about that. Go with the flow and keep doing other hobbies as well with no guilt. So I've definitely worked on this one for sure. I was having issues with that for definitely the first half of the year. Gaming is one hobby that I really love, but I always feel super guilty if I spend hours gaming and I'm not reading, which is hard, honestly, because I love doing both. So I actually created a cozy gaming channel, and it's not much. I only post a video a week, but it's kind of motivating me to let myself enjoy that cozy hobby as well. I also will say, if I'm ever playing Minecraft, a lot of the times I'll pop in my earbuds and listen to an audiobook at the same time, so I can kind of multitask, which is nice. I feel like that one I've gotten definitely better at. And then last but not least, definitely not least, oh my goodness, donate and give away books I'll never read again. I have been doing so well with this, and sometimes it is a challenge because you look at a book and you have good feelings when you look at it, and it wasn't a bad book per se, but you just know you're never going to read it again. It's just taking up space on your shelf, precious space on your shelf, I might add, that could go to another book that maybe you'll end up loving more. So I try to tell myself I'm giving it to someone who will probably get more enjoyment out of it than I am. So I'll give it to someone that I know if I think that they might be into it and it's going to be their kind of like vibe. And if I don't really know anyone that fits that bill, I have a local little free library that I've been putting books into, and every single time I go there, any book that I have put in there previously is gone. So obviously somebody or somebodies are grabbing those books, and I'm hoping that they're getting more enjoyment out of them than I was. I'm gonna say that that one I have definitely met. I have been doing so well with that, and I'm gonna keep doing it because I might have just bought 35 books from Book Outlet recently, and I definitely need some space freed up on my shelves. That is going to do it for me for this video. I still cannot believe we are at the end of 2024. It is wild to me. Before you know it, I'm going to be making a 2025 TBR and reading goals video. I'll give it a couple weeks though, because I'm going to need a little while to think about what I want on that list. I hope you have a great rest of your week. A great rest of your year, actually, because I feel like the next time I post, it'll be next year. Yeah. All right. Well, have a great rest of your year, and happy reading.